Good afternoon, class. My name is Professor Boyle. I'm the lecture teacher for both the Lecture 1004 lab and also for the laboratory class. The book that we need, both books are required. We'll be using the books every time we meet for a class. For the lecture class is Physics with Applications. I wrote the book. It should be about $36 in our bookstore. The lab class is Physics Laboratory Manual. I wrote that book. It should be about $24 in the bookstore. Both books are required. So to start the class now, we're going to start with Chapter 1, and this is going to be a review of algebra, and then there'll be a review of trigonometry. All right? So I'm going to assume that you have your book now. Hopefully you do. And we're going to go over here, we're going to go to Chapter 1, page 1-6. And this is a review of algebra. So it's page 1-6. And the problem on page 1-6 is example 1-8. And this problem says 6 is equal to 3x plus 2. And we want to solve for x. So going back to your Math 1033 class, what you do is you subtract 2 from each side. Two minus 2 is 0. 6 minus 2 is 4. And then what we do is divide both sides by 3, and x is equal to 4/3, or 1.33. And that's that problem. Now actually, that should be very easy for you if you had the algebra. Example 1-9 says, turning the page, y equals 2x plus 5. And we want to find the value of x when y is equal to 10. So now we have 10, 2x plus 5. You subtract 5 from each side. Plus 5 minus 5 is 0. 10 minus 5 is 5. If we divide both sides by 2, and x is equal to 2.5. All right? The next problem is on simultaneous equations. So this is example 1-11. So if an equation says 2x plus 3, 3y is equal to 7. And you have a second equation that says 5x minus 3y is equal to 0. And we want to solve for both x and y. Now again, going back to your Math 1033 class, one way to do this is say, well, 2x plus 5x is 7x. 3y minus 3y, just add them together, that comes out to be 0. And 7 plus 0 is 7. So 7x is equal to 7. And we divide both sides by 7. X is equal to 1. Now once you solve for x, the way you can go back and get the value for y. And you can use either equation to solve for y. I'm going to use the top one right here. So 2x plus 3y equals 7, but I know that x is equal to 1. 2 times 1 is 2. So now I subtract 2 from each side. Two minus 2 is 0. 3y is equal to 5. Dividing both sides by 3, that comes out to be 5/3 would be the value of y. Now we're going to run through these equations during the course of the class. This one right here, that's going to appear in chapter 4. Now the next thing I have to do is deal with something called a quadratic equation. So I'm going to go over here now, I'm going to erase this. And the term used for a quadratic equation would be 0 is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. That's the form of it. That's the general form of the quadratic equation. And to solve the problem, what we do is we use something called the quadratic formula. And this becomes x is equal to a minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So we have an equation here that we need to solve this, and the equation says, example 1-12, and it says 4x squared minus 3x minus 1 equals 0. So in this problem, the value of a is going to be in front of the square term. So that's a, that's b, and that's c. So to solve the problem, I'm going to use the quadratic formula. I'm going to put it right here. All right. So x is equal to a minus b, well, it's going to be a minus 3, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a, but a is 4, and c is a minus 1. And it's all over 2 times a, and that's going to be 2 times 4, like that. Now, a negative of a negative 3, that's a positive 3. Three squared is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. Minus times minus is plus. And 2 times 4 is 8. Now 9 plus 16 is 25. Divided by 8. Well, the square root of 25 is 5. Three plus or minus 5 divided by 8. And anytime you're dealing with a quadratic, there's always 2 possible answers. So one possible answer here would be 3 plus 5. And that comes out to be 1. The other possible answer would be 3 minus 5 over 8. That comes out to be a minus 2 over 8. And that would be a minus 1/4. And that's basically the algebra that we need for the Physics 1004 class. Now I'm going to ask my assistant to turn it off in about 10 seconds because we're going to go to trigonometry. And that's going to be a separate file for the trigonometry. All right, thank you.